Morning, Congressman. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning.
So we know that there are others who think that Capitol Hill should just shut down altogether and that these members of Congress shouldn't be traveling as a result. But to those that have self-quarantined, your response?
Well, first of all, we need to continue doing the people's business, and that's what you're seeing here at the Capitol. Clearly, everybody's got to take necessary precautions, and you're hearing a very unified message coming out from all officials, from Vice President Pence to health officials, letting people know you've got to wash your hands on a regular basis. Even in an active flu season, you would take those kind of precautions, but with coronavirus, we still don't have a vaccine. We're working to get one. You saw Congress come together just last week to pass overwhelmingly a bill to make sure the president has all the tools he needs as he is addressing this outbreak. And let's just make sure that we're taking proper precautions. But in the meantime, we've still got work to do. We need to keep doing it.
What specific precautions are you taking, Congressman?
Well, clearly washing hands a lot more, not shaking hands. Frankly, a lot of fist bumping, but I think you just got to be more careful about how a virus like this can spread and limit your exposure to it as much as you possibly can while you're continuing to do your job.
Congressman, two of your colleagues who are now under self-quarantine, Doug Collins and Matt Gaetz, both had interactions with the president, handshaking. In the case of Matt Gaetz, he was on Air Force One with the president yesterday, traveling from Florida to the Washington, D.C. area. Last night, Stephanie Grisham, the press secretary, put out this statement. The president has not received COVID-19 testing because he has neither had prolonged close contact with anyone known confirmed COVID-19 patients, nor does he have any symptoms. The president remains in excellent health, and his physician will continue to closely monitor him. But how concerned are you about these various interactions he had with these lawmakers and the fact that he was at CPAC where at least one person has tested positive?
Right. Well, those members haven't shown any signs, and the president knows how to take good care of himself. And you look at what those members are doing; they're taking extra precautions, but have made clear they don't have any symptoms either. Again, in a time like this, everybody's just got to take as many precautions as you can while you're continuing to go about your daily lives. Yeah. And doing the jobs that you have.
All right. Most importantly, the business of the nation that you mentioned a moment ago. The president last night at this news conference teed up the fact that he wants to have an economic stimulus plan that he's going to send to you and your colleagues at some point. There are a lot of meetings going on today at the White House. What are your initial thoughts about a payroll tax holiday, some of the other issues on the table?
Well, I know President Trump is going to be addressing this in more specific terms later today. I haven't seen any details. There are a lot of different ideas talking. Obviously, we're concerned about what's happening in the oil markets as well. A number of members, myself included, have been talking amongst ourselves. I had a meeting this morning with the Doctors Caucus talking about a number of health issues. And so, we're going to be looking at that. We'll see where, what the president lays out. I will say there is a bill on the floor this week that Speaker Pelosi is planning to bring called the No Ban Act that would actually make it more difficult for the president to, for example, stop people coming in from countries that have a high propensity of outbreaks of the coronavirus. And President Trump was able to successfully use his authorities to limit the number of people coming in from China when it was initially coming out of China. Why would you want to bring legislation that would make it harder for the president to do his job keeping this country safe? I would urge Speaker Pelosi to pull the No Ban Act from the floor this week.
Here she is talking about getting another bill together, Nancy Pelosi.
We are putting it together. It's not like we just woke up this morning and started thinking about this. I don't know that we can be ready this week, but we can introduce this week. We can introduce it, and we may be ready, depending on CBO, depending on Leg Council, and how quickly they could get something.
If it's not this week.
There's that, and there's also the blame game that is clearly present on Capitol Hill, with Chuck Schumer saying that the president's more focused on the stock market than the pandemic. Unless you deal with it, the stock market's going to get worse and worse. What do you make of the finger pointing that's happening in Washington right now?
Yeah, people like Chuck Schumer need to stop threatening Supreme Court justices and hoping that bad things happen for the economy. Look, I mean, President Trump is doing his job at, number one, keeping Americans safe. That is his top job, and he's done it incredibly effectively. He's concerned about making sure that families are able to have a strong economy, and we've got a strong economy. There are troubles right now that are related to the uncertainty with this outbreak, and we need to continue making sure that CDC, HHS, all the federal agencies have the tools they need to properly respond, to test, and to ultimately find a vaccine. And President Trump's working on all fronts. He's put Vice President Pence in charge, which, by the way, was a recommendation of a bipartisan panel. They've got to stop the political games that some of these folks are playing here on the Hill and focus more on doing their job. And frankly, there's work left to be done.
Yeah, Congressman, what other issues on the table would you like to see? I mean, some people have been talking about child care to make sure people can jump out, of the workforce, stay home with their kids if they have to. What other issues do you think need to be addressed?
Well, again, I know the president's talking about specific. It's not the time to negotiate while we're still trying to address what the real problems are in the economy. We need to, number one, make sure that we have an assessment of what's happening and make sure that the agencies have the tools that they need to do their jobs. And there's even talk of, possibly some other legislation to make sure that companies that are making masks and other things are able to do that properly. But in the end, we need to do this in a bipartisan way. That's the approach that President Trump has been taking, and hopefully everybody here on the Hill works together and not just throws ideas out that are unrelated. You see a lot of people taking out their wish list from Christmas, and they're trying to throw that into a bill because they see an opportunity. It's not the time to take advantage of the situation. Let's focus on doing targeted things that help keep Americans safe and get our economy back in a strong position.
Congressman, if I could just get you to react to some reporting from our own John Roberts at the White House this morning, adding to the fact that there is discussions over a payroll tax cut being considered over the economic impact of the coronavirus. The Trump White House is discussing the possibility of, John Roberts is reporting, a full exclusion of employee contributions, a complete payroll tax holiday for workers. Would that fly?
Well, again, first of all, the president is looking at a number of things to make sure that he keeps a strong economy going. We've had an incredible recovery, an unprecedented recovery since President Trump took office, cut taxes, got regulations under control, and is bringing millions of jobs back to America. And again, when you look at what's happening with the economy, some of it is because of supply chain issues, because there is too much of a reliance on countries like China. It's one of the reasons why the president's America First agenda is so powerful at helping rebuild our economy. But we're in a tough position right now. Let's all work together to get through it. Let's focus on the details that we can get common ground on, and that is currently being negotiated, but we're not at a place where we have legislative text yet to bring to the floor.
All right, Congressman Steve Scalise, the House Republican Whip, thanks for coming in.
Great being with you. Thanks.
Thank you.